Neighbors say they didn't fear for their safety. They were told to stay inside their homes, and a portion of South 5th Street was blocked until the incident diffused. 54 projects totaling $60 million is coming to District 5. Some of that money will go toward an Interstate 70 project right here in Muskingum County. But his condition is not known at this time. A 16-year-old Conesville girl remains hospitalized after an accident Thursday. We're seeing the warm front beginning to work its sector into the state of Ohio. Low pressure system right behind it. You can see some of these heavier bands of rain. But decorators are also allowed to add their own creative touches to each of these cakes. The Zanesville Avon plant will be replacing 2 U.S. facilities, one in Newark, Delaware, and the other in Glenview, Illinois, making the Zanesville Avon plant one of 3 distributing facilities in the entire country, distributing 50% of the merchandise Avon produces. A local judge will be wearing a Wiley the Wall-Eyed Fish costume in Zanesville Municipal Court throughout the day. Transporting a patient by MedFlight can cut a patient's time in half when compared to an ambulance, and that can mean the difference between life and death. Fairfield, Hocking, Perry, Morgan counties, you might see a little bit of rain as the night continues on. The Wild staff is hoping this center can help enrich and further students' education. The Ohio Department of Transportation says it wants to ignite Ohio's economic engine. It's investing about $2 billion in construction this year that will cover 1,600 projects in every county. So once you find the perfect pumpkin, how do you go about carving it?
The level, the intensity is what drains you. It's similar to a house fire because of the intensity level that you constantly are working at to do everything you can while you still have time.
National Trails Fire Department was the first crew to respond to the 2-car accident. Assistant Fire Chief Steve Dupler says he couldn't believe his eyes, but he says he couldn't let emotion stand in the way of his job.
Try to do scene assessment, find out safety and all the hazards and that thing. Obviously checking on the injured.
A woman and child were injured in the van and immediately taken to the hospital. But the 3 adults and 2 children in the Chevy Cavalier weren't as lucky. They were pronounced dead at the scene. The Ohio State Highway Patrol says the car suffered immense damage from the point of impact.
When a vehicle is hit in the side impact, the way that the car was, because when the car crossed the median, it came across sideways. So even though it's considered a head-on crash, the vehicle was at a side angle, and that's where there is not a lot of what we call structural part of the car to take that shot, to take the damage from that. It
was extremely difficult to get to the 5 individuals.
We used our rescue tools, and then Falls Township also assisted us on this with a medic and one of their rescues. So we used everything we had, and it still took us a while to deal with all this.
The Ohio State Highway Patrol will now conduct its investigation into the cause of the crash, using witness statements, marks from the roadway, and the states and positions of the vehicles. It is also having its reconstruction unit use something called a total station.
And they're going to map this scene out to where they can get a 3-dimensional view of it on a computer and be able to give a lot more information for the crash report.
In Zanesville, I'm Emily Baird for WHIZ News. There were spatulas whipping icing frantically, cake pans twirling, and lots of movement in Respect's Pick and Save bakery as 4 workers took on 70 cakes. But with about 90 years of experience, they say they're ready to take on the challenge.
It's only once a year. I think we can handle it. It's worth the while.
They work really hard. They plan probably starting in January.
It's a 2-day process. The baking started yesterday with about 100 sheets made at a time. They were cooled and then an icing base was added. Then comes the fun part of decorating all these cakes. Seward says the staff speaks with each business to get an idea of what they want.
They like to do their images, their logo for the business, and then maybe present their incentive.
But decorators are also allowed to add their own creative touches to each of these cakes.
One lady last year wanted it to look like pies, and I don't think anybody at the auction knew that it was cake, and because I put them in a pie pan.
Seward says each cake takes about 20 minutes to decorate, which makes for a long night.
Whatever it takes, we'll get them done. That way we can get them out there first thing in the morning.
The cakes are covered before being loaded in a van that takes them to the Colony Square Mall tomorrow, where they will be checked in. The van makes about 10 trips to get all 70 orders where they need to be. It's a tradition Low Index says his store loves to be a part of.
We just think it's a good thing for the community because there's a lot of participation, and we just try to go out of our way to make sure we deliver the cakes and get everything up there to the mall on time, and just take the pressure off any business or anything like that, just to make the process easy and smooth.
You can check out all the cake designs tomorrow night when the People's Choice Award will be decided. In Zanesville, I'm Emily Baird for WHIZ News.